Hello, welcome to another 3-lap challenge, and this is an extra special challenge this week because it's celebrating the 50th video in the series, and it also coincides with the coronation of King Charles III, so I thought I'd make a bit of effort just for you guys. So we'll jump straight in and we'll talk about why we're doing what we're doing this week. And I spent a good few hours, I can tell you that, looking into the most influential and iconic cars over the last 50 years, but not just the most influential and iconic, but the most influential and iconic British race cars that feature in Automobilista 2. And I was quite surprised how many there are. So I think the list was probably 12 or 15 cars that were of influence in the motorsport industry. So I decided to spread out over all the different series, cars that fitted into different categories that were still iconic or influential in motorsport. So we'll jump straight into the first one. So I managed to narrow it down to 5 British cars and 5 British tracks, which was quite easy to do. And the first one is the Caterham Superlight at Snetterton 100. Now, why Caterham and why Snetterton? Well, let's pick these two ghosts and we'll get talking about this as we drive round. So here we are at the Snetterton 100 in a very iconic and influential British sports car, and that's the category that it fits into. And it's kind of, for me, one of those cars that really identifies strongly with the club racing scene in the UK, and not just in the UK but across the globe. I should imagine there's many continents or countries in the world that doesn't recognise at least the shape, even if they don't know what the car actually is. Obviously the late great genius of Colin Chapman came up with the design all those years ago, slightly more than 50 years ago. And while I concentrate around this hairpin, it's been taken over by Caterham later in years, and then there's been copies of Caterhams. Caterhams are still sold, obviously. The Caterham Academy is still going strong, and then there's all the different race series featuring Caterhams. As you go through the UK racing, you'll see all the different variations, and at club level you'll get all sorts of engines placed into these and different setups, etc. And not only that, there's a strong replica industry. Foremost was Westfield, of which I'm very lucky enough to own one. Unfortunately, it's got a very sad engine at the moment, so it's not drivable, but hopefully in the next year or so it'll be up and running again, and you might get to see that. And we've missed that second lap up, so we've got to get a wriggle on now. Oh, look at the world record time. Oh, I don't think I'm going to get close to that today. So that's the reason for the Caterham. Now, in Automobilista 2, we got 3 or 4 variations, from the Academy car all the way through to the 620R, which is an absolute nightmare and a beast to drive. Now, I'll be the first to put my hands up and say, and if you've seen any of the live streams or raced with me before, you'll have heard me say that the Caterhams are still not quite handling like they do in real life. There's too much slip, tyre slip sliding around by about 10 or 15% too much slip. Don't get me wrong, in real life you can really throw these things around. That's why they appear in... Let's get round this hairpin, I'm struggling. That's why they appear in auto tests. Go and look it up if you don't know what those are. Hill climbs, sprints, circuit racing. So, such a popular car. And because it's kind of a birthday for the 3-lap challenge, we're going to go one more lap, see if we can beat it, and I'll go quiet while I try and concentrate. This hairpin's the one that does it for me. I'm really not used to this circuit, and the reason for Snetterton is because we just don't race it anywhere near enough and it gets a bad rap. I know it's fairly featureless, but I think it's a pretty good circuit, especially the one that appears in Automobilista 2. And there we go. So we'll drop back to the leaderboard and we'll see what time we got on our 3rd lap. So there we go, we managed to get 5th with a 48 seconds, 0.228. So we're still 7/10 off the leader. I think with probably another 10, 15, maybe 20 laps, I can definitely get a bit closer. There's the really tight hairpin that was absolutely destroying my lap, and then there's a slightly more open hairpin that was also causing me some time losses. So there's the first one. Stick around till the very end because there may just be a bonus one, and it's a bit of a special one, the fifth one. It's got a special place in everybody's hearts who are keen on motorsport. So we'll go to the next one now. So here we are with another cracking combination. This is number 2 in today's video of 3-lap challenge celebrating the 50th video, and it's the Ginetta GT4 at Oulton Park. So we're racing here with world record holder ahead and number 7th or 5th place man, I can't remember which one it is, behind, to give us a guide as to how we're doing. And for me, Oulton Park is one of those circuits. It's just a favourite of mine. It's just got everything. It's got the undulations, it's got the challenging corners such as that one. So yeah, it's just an iconic track in the UK. Really must go and see this year, see some racing there. Now the Ginetta is very similar to the Caterham in the fact that it's the lower end of the motorsports series. However, this GT4 also qualifies for a lot of other club racing as well, so such a popular car. It's raced all over the world. Anybody who's a fan of motorsport will recognise a Ginetta. Oh! And since 2022 and into 23, the updates that Automobilista 2 has had has made this car such a raceable car, especially if you're in a group of like-minded racers and close racers. You can have some absolutely blinding races with these GT4s. Now let's see if we can sneak ahead of this car. I can't remember what position he's in. Let's see if we can do a bit better, and we'll go a little bit quieter over the next 2 laps because I really want to set a good time. Oh, we sport that one. I normally go wide and getting off track, so we'll carry on with this lap. Stick with me. So yeah, the Ginetta, built from the ground up as this particular one was built from the ground up as a race car. I really love the I think it's the mid-80s Ginettas, when the small car manufacturer was first. It's really getting settled into building cars. I think it goes all the way back to the 60s or 70s when the Ginettas first came out. This car is so well poised. It's got a great gearbox. Obviously you're going to need to tweak the setup, like I may have said before, to suit your style of driving. But let's see how high up the leaderboard we can get. Really standing on those brakes there. Struggling to... Oh, we've hit the wall. Oh! Join me in a second when we go for our 3rd lap. Right, let's see if we can challenge the top places. I don't think I'm going to get near the world record holder. Not today. I need a lot more laps to settle into Oulton Park. Although we're level at the moment, this just needs to carry on through the lap. So let's see if we can beat our time. I'm amazed that my first lap time was the one that may have got us into the top 10. Short shifted to second just to stop a bit of wheel spin. Oh, back end swinging out wide. I go quiet when I'm really concentrating, so if I don't give much commentary, you know why. A little nibble of the curb. Tight round that one, swing out. This one can be tricky for me. We lost a bit more time there, let's get going, come on. love Alton Park. Just fantastic races to be had around this circuit. Oh, we've gone too wide and we're going to crash. Not quite. Oh, we saved it. Nice little 360 there to celebrate. Let's see where we ended up on the leaderboard. So there we go. We managed to get 8th place on the leaderboard, which is the whole point of the 3-lap challenge, is to get into the top 10 of a leaderboard, normally chosen by random, but not this week. So what did we get? We've got a 139.7. We're still 1.1 seconds behind the fastest, the world record. There's number 2 challenge of this video. Let me know down in the comments what your number 2 challenge, Ginetta at Alton Park, 3-lap time is and your overall time. And let's move on to the next challenge. Here we are, challenge number 3 in this episode, and we're at Donington Park in the McLaren F1 GTR. Now, Donington is an absolute favourite of mine because it's one of my most local big circuits. I'm kind of halfway between Donington and Silverstone, but Donington is slightly closer. And I wanted to feature some Le Mans type cars for obvious reasons, and we've invalidated the first lap. So here we are, lap 2. As I was saying, I wanted to feature some Le Mans type cars, and the only British car in the GT1 class is this McLaren F1 GTR. Arguably sounds better than any of the other cars in its class in Automobilista 2 from the external view. Ooh, that was close. And if you look at the leaderboard, as we shall in a bit, at the end of the 3rd fast lap, you'll see that the top 10 leaderboard is dominated by mainly the AMG Mercedes in front and a handful of Porsche cars. Oh, hello. So the McLaren might not be in Automobilista 2 the quickest car in its class, but in 1995 it managed to win Le Mans, and it was the first win at Le Mans for McLaren, so that's why it features in today's list of 5 cars. Now I'm going to concentrate for lap 3, and if I can just stay close, not driving like that, you're not going to stay close. Through all the way, sliding around there too much. So we got world record holder right in front and 8th placement just behind him. That's how close the leaderboard is, and I am not going to get into the top 10. I had to drop to first gear, cocking the tyres now. I doubt if I'm going to beat my previous lap at 122. Through it all the way. Locking up way too easy, need to adjust my brake pressure some more. There's lap 3, it'll be interesting to see where we got. So here we are in the leaderboard. We were chasing Benate 7 in first, and we were chasing Twisted Stem number 9. Now we were nowhere near, so I dread to think where I came. Look how tight that leaderboard is. 45th. 45th with a 122.33 in 3 laps. So it's another one of those leaderboards that's been hotly contested. I really want to see one of you regulars out there that take part in these 3-lap challenges getting to the top 10. It'd be really nice to bump these Mercedes out of the way. Let's just see where the next McLaren is. We're going to have to sort by vehicle. So I'm 5th in the McLarens. Still a second off the fastest, but I'm slightly happy with that. There you go, getting to challenge number 3. Let me know down in the comments, head it challenge 3, your 3-lap time and your best time. Let's move on to the next one. Here we are at Brands Hatch, of course we are, and we're in a car that raced here in one of the British Grand Prix. It's the Lotus 49, slightly offset steering wheel to the dashboard. Oh, slow down, slow down. In the era of tyres that weren't exactly the best. And also in an era where you had to set the car up before you even got to the corner. And when I say that, I mean a lot earlier than you normally do in a modern race car. So we've got world record holder ahead and 7th place man on the leaderboard behind. And I'm not driving this particularly good, but I'm managing to keep up a little bit with the leader. And of course, this was the era of the introduction of aero, and this car was driven in anger by the likes of Graham Hill, Jim Clark towards the end of his career. What a car, what a track. It takes some real getting used to, this car does. In fact, I think the leader on this leaderboard is the fastest man in one of these cars. I don't think it's the world record. I think the world record is held by one of our most regulars, biggest supporters of the channel, Kevin M. I think you've got the world record, if I remember, overall, but I think you was driving a Brabham. So you've got a real big challenge now, Kevin, because you've got to try and beat your own record, but in this twitchy, lightweight Lotus 49, and loads of understeer, then oversteer. It needs a bit of set-off. We'll stay on the track. I was ahead of my previous time, getting frustrated. The days of balancing on the throttle, which I'm not demonstrating very well at the moment. Getting that rear tyre a little bit toasty. Left rear. Got a little bit of engine damage from a bad gear change, I would imagine. The era of sympathy to the car, sympathy of the mechanics, as in the mechanical parts of the car, not the mechanic, well, probably to the mechanics in the pits as well. Let's just stick with it one more lap, see if we can actually improve our time just a fraction more. We're up over the rumble strip now. Oh, we were up with the leader then. We're a fraction up on our best time, so we're going to stick with it. We gained some more time. That was a bit of left foot braking mid-corner. Trying to balance the car. Oh, you can feel the car sit down on the suspension there. We can lean on that right side tyre a little bit more. It's not as hot as the left side rear. Don't have to be careful coming into the last corner. A lot more progression on the throttle rather than stabbing at it. And there we go, we beat our original best time. So there we go. Yes, I was right. Tiger Dan wasn't the world record holder, so I apologise for that. Kevin, you hold the world record currently with the Brabham BT 26A. I've managed a 5th place with a 1 minute 27.580. So I'm quite happy with that. It's a really tricky car, but once you learn these cars and not overdrive and not overheat the tyres, they're really rewarding. So again, put in the comments down below. Challenge number 4. Your 3rd lap time, 3 lap time and your best time, and let's move on to the next challenge, the 5th challenge. So here we are, historic Silverstone 1975 layout, and I'm trying to replicate just something that was close to what I witnessed in 1983 at my first and only ever British Grand Prix, and that was watching another hero of mine, the late great Niki Lauda, in his McLaren MP4/2. Okay, this is the MP4/1C, but it is so close to what Niki drove, the predecessor to the one I saw Niki Lauda driving that day in 1983. He had bad luck in qualifying, he broke down and he pulled over just there in front of me where I was spectating with my father, and I managed to get a few snaps of him taking off his balaclava and getting out the car. Luck was with him, more so on the following day for the Grand Prix itself, where he managed to take the win. And I just want to get into the top 10. That's all I want to do, is get into the top 10. So we got the world record holder out in front in the same car, who set an absolute blinding lap. And then we're battling, I can't tell what car that is, it could be one of the Brabhams. And it's so rapid down the straight, the Brabham is. I can't get close to these guys. And I think the Brabham is the 7th place man. We've had some really tough leaderboards today, and I didn't want the 50th 3LC to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, and we have managed to get into, that was a catch, we have managed to get into a few of the top 10s today. On slow gear changing, that could be the problem. Right, we've really got to focus for our 3rd and final lap. This chicane is so tough, and the main difference from what I can tell from this layout of the track compared to the one I was at is the catch fencing was done away with because of how dangerous it proved. A few more curbs around the circuit were introduced, but the layout pretty much as you see here. Oh, too much slide. Don't know why I'm losing out down the straights. And then definitely never had the bollards on the inside of the corners when I spectated there. Great memories, glorious day. So we're slightly up on our previous time, but we're nowhere near the speed of these guys in front. There we go, there's 3 laps. So let's jump out and look at that leaderboard. Here's the leaderboard. Yes, got in the top 10. I didn't think I was quick enough, but we did. We got there with a 1 minute 12.7. That world record is absolutely blindingly fast. I'll be absolutely fascinated to see the regulars and the quick boys out there, see how far up in the McLaren MP4-1 you can get. How close can you get to Lucas 2121? There you go, there's the 5th challenge of the day. In the comments again, put 5th challenge, your 3-lap time and your best time. Mock me if you want to, if you beat me easy, by all means. And now we'll go to the bonus round. Well, there was no way I was going to do iconic cars from the last 50 years without covering this car. One of the more recent additions to Automobilista 2, and what an addition it is. I can't remember if it's DLC, so forgive me if it is. It's, well, I'm just going to jump in and drive and you can see it for yourself, but this leaderboard, looking at the times, the top, I'll be lucky to get in the top 20 again. I mean, I think top 45 was one of the challenges earlier, so let's see where we get with this. So it is indeed the McLaren MP4/4 at the hands of the most iconic, well, one of the most iconic drivers of the last 50 years, and of course it's Ayrton Senna. And we're here at Montreal now. We're here at Montreal because in 1988, when Senna won his championship there that year, this car won 15 of the 16 races, I believe, that year. Ooh. And it has got a boost button as well. And you can use it all the way around in qualifying, as they did back in the day. But the reason for Montreal is this version is the historic 1988 version, so it's as it looked in its day when this car went round. And this particular race in that year, 1988, Senna managed 3 things. Not like me. He managed pole position, fastest lap, and he won the race. He did it another time that year, but it was at Japan, and as yet Reiser haven't got a historic version of Japan, so I'm over revving the engine. I don't know why. So that's why Montreal, and this is why it's the bonus round, because one of the greatest drivers of all time in one of the most successful Formula 1 cars stayed out of the Wall of Champions of all times. So let's see what we can do after that warm-up lap of lap 1. You're going to have to kind of get your head into this one, because being... Oh, no. Let's come back for a 3rd lap and I'll tell you why. So, the reason I was saying you have to get your head into it is because this car is so rapid and stops in such a short space of time, and this track is so close all the way around that everything happens so fast on this circuit. Don't forget to use your boost button as often as you can. And like I say, the leaderboard is absolutely chock-a-block, and I'll show you after this attempt, shall we call it. So we got the world record holder out in front, and we got 8th place man directly in front as a guide. And the last chicane, you have to trust yourself. You can go through it so fast, and you can brake so late into this hairpin as well. But getting back on the power is tricky, especially with the boost button available. So here we go, see if I can get the speed through here. I don't actually think it's a change down, but I did it. I'm going to go one more lap and I'm going to try it. A weird place to change gear, but it seemed to work for me. And you can stand on the brakes really quite hard once you've got your brake pressure set up. This is a tricky corner for me. It always feels so slippy on the exit. And I always trip over the next chicane as well. So I'm slightly up on my previous time. Missed my gear change. Right, let's see if we can get the final chicane better. This is nice through here. This is flat out with the boost button pressed. Right. Little lift. Yep, 6 gear. You can get through there. And there we go. A 120.9. I have no idea how far up the leaderboard we're going to get. Let's find out after... Oh, this car. Oh. Let's find out now. So here we are in the leaderboard, and it's so fast. It is absolutely blindingly fast, and it's so close. So let's see where we came. Are we in the top 20? Oh, we just snuck into the top 20. That's all I really wanted on this leaderboard. This car, this combination, build up to it in something, as we've done in this episode actually. Build up, and go for it. Can I get in the top 10? I can definitely knock a second off my time, but I don't think I can get into the... no, I don't think I can do a second. I think it's probably half a second. So there you go. It'd be great to see the times that you guys get to set. Again, in the comments, bonus round, your 3-lap time and your best time, and it'll be great to see all of the times that you build up. You're going to have a busy weekend and a busy week competing in all these 3-lap challenges. So there we go, the end of the 50th episode of the 3-lap challenge, and all that's left to say is, if you have been, thank you for watching, and happy 50th episode. Oh, I am daft sometimes. See you all later.